I obey God. Isn't it interesting? Here you have God saying to God that I obey him, that he obeys God, and that he makes it his business to obey God. This was his testimony. The question is this our testimony as well? Can we say that we obey God in all things? Can we say that when God says do this, we immediately jump to? Or when God says that, we immediately jump to that? This was the testimony of the people of Israel for a while when they followed Yahweh in the desert. This was the testimony of Joshua or Yeshua, the high priest, during the time of Zechariah when they was building the second temple. This was the testimony of Yeshua when he walked upon this earth. Is this the testimony of you and I? Can you and I stand before God and say, I obey you in all things? Can we say that? For a short time, I would like to come before you with this thought, and that is a life of obedience. In the book of Devarim, or the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, verse 20 through 26, it says this: when you, that is the children of Israel, heard the voice coming out of the darkness, as the mountain blazed with fire, you came to me, that is Moshe, all the heads of your tribes and your leaders, and said, for who is there of all humanity that has heard the voice of the living God speaking from the fire as we have, and stayed alive? You go near and hear everything Yahweh our God says, then you will tell us everything Yahweh our God says to you, and we will listen to it and do it. Here, the people of Israel is telling Moshe, because they're afraid to approach God because of the fire that they see upon the mountain, and the loud sounding shofar and the earth quaking. They themselves hear the voice of God echoing the 10 words or the 10 commandments, and now they say, Moshe, you go and hear what God says, and you bring word back to us, and then we will do it, or we will obey it. And the scripture continues by saying, Yahweh heard what you were saying when you spoke to me, and Yahweh said to me, I have heard what this people has said when speaking to you, and everything they have said is good. And then Yahweh responded by saying this: oh, how I wish the hearts would stay like this always, that they would fear me and obey all of my commandments, so that it will go well with them and their children forever. Yahweh longed for his people to always obey him, but he knew that their willingness to obey him would be short-lived, because God knows all things. Here the people, when they see the mountain ablaze, when they hear the shofar sounds and is getting louder and louder, and they feel the earth beneath their feet quaking, they see the thunder and the lightning, and they're terrified. And then they hear the voice of God speaking from the midst of the fire, saying unto them the 10 words or the 10 commandments. Then the people say, whatever God says, baby, we're going to do. And God looked and said, I heard you. And what you're saying is good. But he says, I know that it's only for a time. You know how it is when we become afraid or when certain events occur. People respond to God and they obey God. When 9/11 happened or after it happened, churches everywhere were full to capacity because people were afraid. They were terrified of what had happened, not knowing if it could occur again. And so they all began to seek God. But as we know, as we look back upon history, oh, baby, that was short-lived. Because as soon as everything died down and calmed down and the news stopped speaking about it every 5 minutes, they looked around and everything is okay. I'm okay. Still got my health, my house, my car, my job. All is well. And they began to go back to the way they used to do things. So God also understood when the people of Israel said that they would obey God, he knew that this was short-lived. This is why Yahweh responded, oh, how I wish their hearts would stay like this always, that they would fear me and obey all of my commandments. God wanted this. He longed for this. You know, there are some within the body of Messiah who do not want Yahweh to order the course of their lives. Many find the thought of God controlling what they do to be intolerable as it relates to their lives. Why? Because people want what they want, baby. They want to be the arbiters of their own lives. They want to be at the helm. They want to control their own lives. They don't want somebody else telling them what to do or choosing for them. Because this is what God does. God tells us what to do. He tells us how he wants us to live our lives. And many people don't like that. Husbands don't like wives telling them what to do. You hear that voice in the back? Yeah. Wives don't like their husbands dictating unto them. You know what I'm saying is true. Children don't like parents telling them what to do. You go on our job, we surely don't like our bosses lording over us and looking over our shoulders and telling us, do this, do that. You know how it is. Under our breath, we talking about, who do you think you is telling me what to do? And it's no different in the body of Messiah. We don't want somebody else telling us what to do and controlling us. God understood this. This is why he said to the people of Israel, oh, how I wish that their heart would always be this way. We really as a people don't want God controlling our lives. Now, many believers will tell you that Yahweh is at the helm and that he is leading and directing their lives. He is over them, telling them what to do, and they'll look at you in the face and go, oh, I am so glad. Start to dancing and hooping and hopping because they say, God is my shepherd. And where he wants, baby, I'll go and I'll do what he wants me to do. But in all actuality, that is the furthest thing from the truth. People generally want to be the masters of their own fate. Say what you want, I know this is true. Even among believers, they'll tell you that God is in control, but they are making every decision. They are doing what they want to do, regardless of what this says. Many who call on the name of Yahweh are no different. They do not want Yahweh, they do not want God telling them what to do or how they ought to live their lives. The evidence is uncontroversial, or however that word goes. Indisputable. The evidence speaks volumes. This spirit of being self-willed manifests itself in children even from an early age. For example, when parents who are only trying to protect their children tell them not to do something or that they can't do this or to do that, many children, because of their defiant spirits, something inside of them, even the little children began throwing tantrums. Some children, and you know who I'm saying, you can go to any store, any mall, some children will flat out tell their parents, no. They'll tell their parents, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? You go to the store, you want to smack them. You want to just grab them kids right by the scruff of their neck. And if the parents try to physically restrain them or to stop them, some children retaliate by then striking and hitting their parents. Some will call 911 on you and report you if you dare lay a hand on them. That defiant spirit. These children, through their actions, are telling their parents, I don't want you telling me what to do. I'm in charge of my life, baby. Even from a young age, this spirit is even in children. Even my little daughter, 2 years old, sometimes she wear me out. I say, now, didn't I tell you not to? Okay, Dad, and still go ahead and do it. I said, I'm going to spank you. She says, okay, Dad, no, don't spank, but just go ahead and do what she want to do. Because even from a young age, that rebellious spirit is inside of them. They don't want no one telling them what to do. This spirit is not only limited to our children, but it is also seen in people of every age. Starting with those of our teenage years, these kids who once faithfully listened to their parents' instructions now begin to ignore you, ignore what you say. They roll their eyes when you tell them to do something. Some even openly challenge your authority. You know how it is. They get a little hair under their arms, a little hair on their chin, and now they want to stand up and talk back. My parents, you know how it is. Parents say, listen, I brought you in this world I will help you hurry get up out of here. You know how teenagers are. They get lippy. They don't want you telling them what to do. They began to argue with parents because they want to be the boss of their own lives. You know the often coined phrase, you ain't the boss of me. That's what they'll tell you. I know when I was growing up, I don't know how it is now, but when I was growing up, when the kids be out there playing, and the parents would tell you when that street light comes on, when that light comes on, you better be in this house. You think kids will listen to that stuff today? Shoot. Street light comes on, they'll make sure that street light ain't on, but they'll knock it out. These young children, these young people don't want their parents' advice, because even that is a form of control that they no longer want to be up under. Parents, through their guiding hands, have controlled their children's actions and whereabouts by telling them what to do and when to do it, all for their safety. But this, for most young adults, is no longer acceptable. We say, oh, no, you really can't be friends with so-and-so because they bad. I don't want you riding in the car with so-and-so because I don't trust him. Anytime you got a car full of teenagers riding together, it spells trouble. Don't do it. Don't get in the car. You hear me? But do our children listen? Shoot. Once they get around the corner, get to school, they in that car. Music bumping, and they back there bumping with it. You know what I'm saying is true. They don't want to hear you. They don't want you controlling their lives. They don't want you giving them advice. I am the arbiter of me. Now, if our young children don't want us as parents telling them what to do you think they want Yahweh telling them what to do? If we can't control them, if we can't get to them, do you think they're listening to God's voice? Now, why do you think we have so many young people falling away from faith in Messiah Yeshua? The answer, brothers and sisters, is quite simple. Because they want to live their lives as they choose. They want to be free to decide for themselves and, as they say, to enjoy life. They see their friends and other young adults living without moral restraints and seemingly having a great time. You know how it is. Oh, Jessie Sue, she's doing it, she's going. Why can't I go? And we say because I ain't the parents of Jessie Sue. I'm your parent. And I say no. And they think you were unfair and hard and harsh. They don't want to be controlled. They're like a wild pony. Wild and bucking and fighting the system. Because they want to be free, baby. They want their mane running and flapping in the wind as they run across the prairie. They don't want to be tied in a stall with hay and fences. They want to run like the wind. I think it's a song. It's a song, yeah. There's a song, Wild Like the Wind or something like that. They want what everyone else has, and they want to do what everyone else is doing. And when the Messiah says, if you love me, then you will keep my commandments, they feel that God's ways is then confining and too restrictive. Loving him, they says, keeps them from doing what they want to do, or as they see other people doing those things, they want to do those things that their friends are doing. The love of God gets in the way. It's an obstacle. Because God says, if you love me, do what I say. Oh, shoot. I mean, I can't go to the party and just get loose. I can't engage in the smoking of the wacky weed. Huh? I can't go upstairs with Jesse Jim and just smooch around the corners, not going too far, Mama, but just nibbling around the edges. I mean, I can't do that. Mom, you don't know what goes on at them parties. Everything is fine. It's not what you think. Oh, say, yeah, it is exactly what I think. They feel that God's love gets in the way. It's an obstacle. And as a result of that, many of them leave him. When they're a child, they all gravitate toward God. They say, oh, we love him. And they began to come to services and worship him. But as they get older, they fall away. Because God, they say, is too restrictive. He's confining. I need to spread my wings and fly. I'm telling the truth. You know how I know him? Because I used to be one of them, and you did too. This spirit of being self-willed is not relegated to just our children. Oh, no, baby. No. This spirit of being self-willed is also prevalent among adults. You thought I forgot you, didn't you? I'm coming to you too. Many adults have abandoned Yahweh because they also see his ways as being confining and restrictive. Too tight. I need elbow room. I want to flex these muscles. I want to enjoy life, they say. I want to live life to its fullest. I want to use what God gave me. You know how they say, well, I want to use it. I want to kick the tires. I want to enjoy life. But by me following God, that's too restrictive. He puts me in a box. They want to be free to make their own choices and to decide for their own lives. They want to see who they want to see, and they don't want God getting in the way of their happiness. I'm happy. I'm in love. I'm in love. Oh, it doesn't matter if the person loves God, the other person loves God. That don't matter. I'm starstruck. They're good. Good for me. I love them. Oh, we all was there. We all were there. We all were there. God tells us, what relationship does a believer have with an unbeliever? That's what he says. Apostle Paul says, if you're going to marry anybody, only marry those who are believers. But we say, oh, did you see his eyes? Guy says, oh, did you see her attributes? I love her. She cooks good. We want to see who we want to see. They want to go out and have fun with the girls and with the guy, not worried about keeping rules. God says this, you want to get out on the floor and do the electric slide and the boogie hoogie and all the other things. And if something pops out, who cares? I'm having fun. I'm enjoying myself. God's rules are too confining, too restrictive. I can't have fun. You even got adults smoking the wacky weed. And that's marijuana. If you who are older, you know what I'm saying, the wacky weed. In Colorado, they made marijuana legal. And they opened up marijuana shops all around the city. Do you know there were long lines of people standing outside these places to buy legal marijuana? They all came out the woodworks. And guess what? The majority of them weren't kids. They were adults. They want, and this may, you think I may be stretching it, and I could be, but I think I'm not. But there probably was some church folk in that line too. Wearing a hat. Wearing a hat and a little fake beard. They said it's legal. I want to smoke the wacky weed. I want to be free. They don't want to worry about keeping the rules. These and other things are done because they don't want to be told what to do. They want to live their lives as they please. Some believers profess that their lives are completely yielded to Yahweh, but their actions tell another story. This is evidenced in the body of Messiah by the fact that regular attendance to congregational services are down. Tithing and giving of offering are down. Living a holy life based upon what is commanded in the scriptures is not being done. It is down. Honoring the Sabbath and the high holy days are virtually non-existent among those who profess to be believers. The body of Messiah do not keep what God said. Honoring our parents, loving our neighbors, forgiving one another our faults, and loving our enemies has become the exception rather than the rule. And why is this? It is because believers don't want to be told what to do. It's simple. God says, do this. I love you. I love you, Yahweh. But then they go out and do what they want to do. And then sometimes they do it behind closed doors where nobody can see them. You know what I mean? They cut the light off and shut the blinds. But they don't know, baby. You can look through the little cracks in the blinds. They don't know. I see you. I see what you... Aha! Listen to me. If you will look in the closets of some of these believers, oh, good gracious. If you will look at their internet history and about the things that they look at, you would be surprised. You would be surprised. These people, they want to do what they want to do. They don't want God. They don't want anyone, even God, telling them what to do. They don't want to be restricted, or they don't want to restrict their freedom in doing whatever they want. They want to go where they want to go, when they want to go, and do what they want to do, how they want to do it. If they want to tell somebody off, you know how we get, I'm going to tip my tongue. If we want to tell somebody off, we reserve the right to tell somebody off. Here's what we do. We take our salvation and we do like that. Put it right down. I'm going to get you now. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.